Welcome to Wine by the Case,
where we uncork legal insights one bottle at a time.
So we have a doozy today. I don't know. There's all this stuff that's like recent episodes having to do with sex. Well, I guess this is not having to do with sex. I asked sort of, kind of. Somebody's
Yeah.
kind of having sex with themselves.
hmm
So tell us about what's going on.
So, again, we're Florida lawyers. We don't always try and pick Florida cases, but this is one of those cases that,
But we do like Florida cases.
yeah, we do. This isn't as Florida man of a case as you might think, because this is happening all over the United States. We're dealing with what they call gray sperm donation. In the world of people who want to get pregnant, who maybe are LGBTQ or are not able to conceive with their partner for various reasons, there's the legal route of contracts being signed, you going to a fertility clinic, and you being artificially inseminated. Then there's what they jokingly
official, the mainstream
right,
route.
but legal. It's legal because
Totally legal. Well,
and
nobody's saying this is illegal. We're not
no,
saying
but
what you're about to say is illegal.
no, but it's governed by a contract when you do the clinic viewpoint, which is where you've got usually an anonymous donation. You don't get the names.
Let's go back a little. So generally, when you're talking mainstream way, is that you would have a doctor, you would go into a clinic. Generally, you would put your parameters of what qualities you
Mhm.
want your sperm donor to have. For instance, an Ivy League education. They may come from, kind of like almost like a dating website for
It's true. Yeah.
sperm. And you would pick, you're not going to know their name, but you will
No.
know their demographics, let's
hmm
say, their
hmm
bio
Right.
about it, and then you would narrow it down. Like, for instance, some people may say, okay, I want someone who is 6'2" and has dark
Right.
hair because
Right.
their partner fits
Right.
those, and so when they have the
Right.
the child will look similar to
Exactly.
what they look like. But
Exactly.
there's this whole and that's expensive.
hmm
It's an expensive process and there are
Yeah.
some states that actually, I believe New York will subsidize this, but it's an expensive process and kind of a lot of people are cost prohibited to
Yeah.
be able to take this route. So
Yeah.
this, what you're about to say, has now popped up on, we're going to label it the black market, but I don't think that's the official
I
name
think
for it.
labeling it Facebook Marketplace because
I like that even better. Well, on
that's where
Facebook
people are finding
Market,
them.
wait, but do we know if you can actually go on Facebook Marketplace and have
Yes.
what you're about? You can. Okay,
Yes.
so let's
There's
label
this
it Facebook
whole
Marketplace. Wow, you can get everything on Facebook
You
Marketplace.
can, you can.
Okay.
So what's interesting though is the notion of artificial insemination, which is not IVF, by the way. That's a totally different thing, much more expensive. This is when people realize that it really wasn't that complicated. People would honestly have a friend.
But I just want to back up. So you're saying that if I wanted some black market or what were you calling it,
Gray,
gray
gray.
market,
hmm
some gray market,
hmm
what? So the first thing I want to say is, why would anybody want sperm that's gray market? But that's okay. I would want to weed out the gray market. But anyways, you're saying I literally can do a search right now. So I could take out my phone and do a search. Oh
Yes,
my God. I'm going to do this while we're sitting here. You're
you
saying
should
that I
because
could go on Facebook Marketplace and
that's just
I'm
what.
intrigued by this whole thing. And I
Yeah,
could say, I don't know if I want this in my search, Chris, but I
yeah.
don't know if I want, okay. What if I just Googled Facebook
You could just
Marketplace gray and what are they calling it?
gray.
They're calling it gray market sperm?
Yep, gray sperm.
Gray
So
sperm? Is
yeah,
that
gray
what it's
market sperm, gray
titled?
sperm. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what it seems to
I
say.
mean, I'm glad we have this podcast in case anybody, so you can get animal sperm. Oh my God, you can get on gray. Well, you need to clarify because apparently this is AI overview on Google says gray sperm, okay,
Mhm,
not gray market, but gray
mhm,
sperm on Facebook Marketplace refers to two different things.
mhm.
Animal sperm
Yep,
or Murray Gray, which is Murray Gray cattle, is a specific breed. Why you would want that? That's another episode.
yep,
Human fertility donations or whale
yes,
sperm. Oh, there's three things. Why would
yeah,
I want whale sperm? I think that's another episode. But so today
yeah.
we're talking about the human fertility gray sperm on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And they say, wait a second, and they say the discussions in the human fertility groups mention the color of the sperm is actually being a grayish white. Okay, I just want to back up. I do not remember during my dating some people that I may have wished in hindsight to not have dated, their sperm being a grayish white. I want to clarify that statement. But they're saying that the sperm is a grayish white in the sperm analysis report. My question is, why is it a different color, Chris?
Well,
why is it because it's sitting around longer?
yes,
It automatically gets to be a different color?
I
Okay,
think
because
that's it,
also in
because
my previous pre-married life, I did not have sperm to analyze the
well,
transition of this color
that
stages.
didn't know about the benefits of whale sperm for facials. I
Well,
mean,
what
that's
you're going on and buying what you put it on your face, whale sperm?
yeah, people are doing that.
Chris, we should do an episode about that. We should
And
do
they're
an
doing
episode
salmon.
where
They're
we
doing
put
salmon sperm. They're doing salmon sperm.
Let's do that. Comment below if you want us to do that. We could do an episode where we are talking about whale and salmon sperm and putting it
Left
on our
whale, right
face.
salmon.
Can you put it on your? Are we allowed to put it on? I'm the healthcare attorney. I have to Google. Can we buy it and legally just put it on ourselves, or do we need a doctor?
Korea's on the forefront of that.
We could do it ourselves in Florida.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
we could always have a doctor do it. We could have them on talking about it.
Literally is like Pond's
I have a mutual client of ours in mind that we might have to bring on to do this for us. Okay, so all right,
let's
so
go
let's
back,
go back. I digressed.
Yes, but in this market, people will, for 150, most of the time, up to 500.
Again,
That's a bargain.
This is a Boca bargain.
Well, and the one guy who says this is not his real name, they put their medical information up there, and they're required to show like sexually transmitted disease information because no one wants to do business with you.
Oh, like a certificate that you're clean, like a clean certificate,
and some basic information. That again, it's like they know you're a 6 foot tall redhead. They know you're a 5'10" rocket scientist.
Right, but it's Facebook Marketplace. You could be lying. You could be lying. Not, but. To digress, remember there was that huge sperm donor thing where the guy was lying too. So I mean,
but this guy says, he tends to do 2 a night. He makes $300.
He's making his side hustle is jacking off. Yeah. I love it. I love the entrepreneurial spirit of this whole thing.
But so this market of the old school.
I mean, really, if you're doing it anyways, you might as well,
get paid for it. But he said he doesn't think about the fact that he won't ever know children he had. He said because what he focuses on is that people who really want children will now be able to have them, and it won't be cost prohibitive.
Okay. No, he's focused on the fact that he's jacking off twice, whatever, a day. And his side hustle is that he puts it in a cup and sells it to, please.
He delivers it.
I'm not buying that it's all for the greater good.
He delivers it to hotel rooms, and he delivers it to whatever address they tell him to drop it off in.
This is like the stinky panty thing. I love this. Oh my God, I love the story. Okay, so he's got this gig.
This is one of the people talking about how this market works. In case you didn't know, you can go into CVS right now and buy a
DIY jack-off kit?
Yes, so they've got the little, like a urine cup and that sort of thing. And the miniature turkey baster, because that's what it is.
No, and CVS?
Yes, look it up. You can go
buy it. Really?
Yeah, I think it's like $65 or something like that.
You could just go buy a turkey baster for like $9.99 and a little plastic cup.
People have done it, but this way at least they feel like they've, made everything as sterile as possible. So in this case that came out of Daytona, it was a lesbian couple.
Everybody, that Daytona, Florida, for those of you.
Yes, Daytona, Florida. A lesbian couple had gotten a casino worker to donate his sperm to them.
Hard Rock!
Because they really wanted to have a child.
We don't know if he works at Hard Rock. I'm just saying. It would just add flavor to the story.
Right.
Because he'd have to be hard to ejaculate, and if he worked at Hard Rock, you get the...
She's on fire today, folks.
I I love this story.
But again, it started off happy. It really did. That, he donated the sperm. Apparently, they did use a CVS kit, and she became pregnant. And they had pictures of the three of them in like a maternity shoot because
Wait, you
they
don't
were.
bring sand home from the beach. Why is he part of this family portrait?
I don't know, but they had him in there. And then during the pregnancy, the lesbian couple got married because that way they didn't have to deal with adoption afterwards and things like that, which you have to do when
Wait,
you.
so let's back up. In Florida, if you're married, then it is presumed, it can be overcome, but it is presumed that the spouse is deemed the
Parent, right?
father. And
Yeah.
so let's
Again,
just say in an old school situation, the mother would give birth and whoever she was married to would be deemed, there would be a presumption to be the father of the
the father,
child.
right?
So they would have to, at that point, overcome that, and that's even if they weren't together. They could live in
Right.
different states.
Yep.
You would have to overcome that
Yes.
presumption
Yeah, you
of
would.
that situation. And back in the day in the 80s,
Mm.
they would automatically give the child the name. You would
Mhm.
have to sometimes put up a whole fight in the hospital,
Mhm.
the last name of the husband, that child.
Mhm.
So here we stand. So they get married during the pregnancy. When the child
Yes.
is born,
They're
on the
married.
birth certificate, it says the
Right.
two spouses
Right. It does.
as the parents of
Right.
this child.
Sperm donor is nowhere referenced.
Okay.
Apparently, though, he was at the birth. He came to the
Once
birth.
again, do not bring sand home to the beach.
So, but I think it was sort of a, they were gonna. There's no indication that there was any sexual relationship going on between the three of them, as compared to they were friends.
No throuple. The
No
story
throuple.
doesn't even get juicier than it already
Nope.
is. There's no throuple. Okay.
There's no throuple. But unfortunately, and again, this happened in 2020, 2020.
Wait, the
So
birth of the child.
the
The
birth
birth
of the
of the
child,
child. Okay.
2020.
So
So
the
think of where
child's
we are now.
5,
Yeah.
about 5.
So
Okay.
in the end of 2021, a divorce gets filed between the lesbian couple. So what happens then is the person who gave birth to the child then gets together with the sperm donor and says, well, Florida law shouldn't impact us because we
You
didn't do
cannot
this.
make this shit up.
Can't. Florida law doesn't impact us because we didn't do it through the regular channels, and the law doesn't govern this gray.
But can I back up?
Sure.
So, okay, so you're saying that the lesbians get divorced
Mhm.
and for just to make this simplified, and I don't want to offend anybody in the use, but I'm trying to simplify it. The mother, the woman who
Mhm.
gave birth, we'll refer to as the mother, they're getting divorced, and the mother ends up getting in a relationship with the sperm donor. And
Just friends. Just friends. They never got into a relationship.
no, after during the
Right,
divorce,
right.
they
But
wanted
even during
okay.
the divorce.
So now they're
Mhm.
in a divorce. So to back up for people who don't know this, not only are they dividing up their assets at this point, there's got to be a parenting plan put in place with regard to this now approximately 5-year-old child.
Mhm.
And you're saying as part of that parenting plan, the sperm donor interjected himself.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to use that word.
You
That's not the
did. You
legal
did.
word for it,
Yes.
injected himself, but I'm gonna use
I
it.
was thinking
Injected himself
grammar school
into
about interjection.
yeah, into this divorce proceeding, saying that he should also be thrown in the mix to have visitation with the child along with the spouses.
Right, because
Okay, but now I would have to say, okay, so what happened at that point?
so what happened at that point is the lower court said, no, Florida law does not permit you to have any rights.
Which is true.
And then they went to the appellate court and said, wait a minute. The statute says that it applies only to laboratory provided services, not DIY at home kits. So
So
therefore,
let me just back up for our listeners. So there is basically, okay, so like we had said before, there is a presumption when the child is born that it belongs to the husband and wife, just to use simplistic terms. But however, to overcome that presumption, another party who believes that they are actually biologically the child can petition the court and say, I am the rightful father of this child.
Mhm.
And now I want to take over I want to be named the
Mhm. Yep.
rightful named parent of this child
Mhm.
legally.
Yep.
And thereby, then next step would be petition for visitation as well, be responsible for the support of that
Right.
child. Now, so that's one
Mhm.
issue. What
Mhm.
Chris is talking about is that there is an exception if you go through the correct channels, a bona fide. I'm gonna continue bona fide fertility clinic that because we want people to be able to donate sperm and not be on the hook
Right.
under family law requirements
Mhm.
that they are no longer responsible and waive all rights to that child. And
Right.
that is
For
handled at the
lots of
front
reasons.
end, right?
Lots of
At the
reasons,
front end.
right.
And most people who donate sperm want that. Otherwise,
Yes.
they would not be doing that. So it's an protection for them. Now, what this person now, and I don't know, I'm assuming procedurally they've done it correctly. So they can't claim that. So, but we're back in family court. And because they didn't file, he could come in. And under family court law, the problem that you have to show is not, it really is this teetering thing because the thing that goes through family court is the best interest of the child. So that is the main thing, the best interest of this child. But the other thing is that if he, and I would allege this if I was the parents, the spouse's attorney, that he had knowledge, okay? He had knowledge and didn't do anything for 5 years. But then the counter to that is you brought up these pictures. So
Yes.
another element of this is
Mhm.
was this person in, and this comes into
Yeah.
adoptions as
Yep.
well,
Mhm.
was the sperm donor part of this child's life?
Seemed to be.
Which
Mhm.
which it appears that
Mhm.
he was part
Yep.
of the child's life,
Yep.
opposed to being a sperm donor and then coming out 5 years later and
Right.
saying, I now want to be part of the child's life and I'm
Yeah.
petitioning. It sounds like he was consistently a part of this child's life and he has the photos to back it up.
Mhm.
So if that was the case and we take the whole sperm donor thing out,
Mhm.
right? And let's say we have a father who was coming to Christmas. He was coming to T-ball. We've got pictures
He
to
sent
support
he
it.
sent Mother's Day presents.
Right. We have pictures to support it.
Mhm.
And this parent, let's just say this other person that was, I don't want to say sperm donor, let's say
Mhm.
there was a brief relationship, right? Had decided that he just wasn't going to legally do anything because he didn't want to break up a marriage. But when he realized the marriage had been broken up, that he then was going
But
to move. I think there's a good argument that the court would give him visitation
and
of that
and
child.
and the what I've been looking at, it's trying really hard not to say it, but I have the feeling that he's gay because of the fact that they keep talking about their open relationship, this, that, and the other. Not sexual. They never mention sex ever. And he said he wanted to have a child. So apparently there's a whole market too of gay men who want to have children, and this is their way to do it. But
But
here,
Chris, I think this one is so much different than
oh, because he's
I
been
think this is
involved.
so much different because they had him, like you said, at the birth.
Yes.
He was there, and
He cut the cord.
I wouldn't be surprised if what is it the housewives say? Bring the receipts. I
Yep.
wouldn't be surprised if there weren't receipts from the sperm donor
Yeah.
buying gifts, paying
Exactly.
for clothing.
Yep.
Taking the child, going with the child on trips. These
Mhm.
are all things that family court is going to look at. If you were
Yep.
providing support that's emotionally and financially,
Mhm.
those probably will come out. I think that this individual is going to get, they're
It
going
it
to deem him the father.
right. And that's why the interpretation of the statute is going to be so important because if they're saying oh, it only involves clinics and we haven't included DIY, do it yourself, maybe that's legislative flagellation of this legislature
But I
needs
think
to
it
address it.
is. I think it is because that was a carve out
Well,
to protect in that specific situation. And I think this gets into a very good thing in the sense that I think a lot of times you and I both see this in our practices that people they think something's simple, right? And they do it on their own. And because they aren't in the trenches like we are, and we see how it can go south so quickly.
this and that is why I picked This wine for today, it's Heartbreaker. So there we go.
I just
And
want to
this,
see it.
yeah, this is the.
I hate when we do remote because
I
Chris gets
know
the
you can
wine.
see it,
Somehow
but
she always gets the wine and I don't get the wine. Okay, so where's Heartbreaker from?
this is from Thomasville, Georgia. So we're talking some fine wine here.
Where'd you find that, Chris, and how
In
much was it?
Thomasville, Georgia.
You were in Thomasville, Georgia. How much was it?
This was about $23.
Okay.
So
Have you had this bottle before?
I have not had this bottle before. I had one of their other ones. They had a Gypsy Red and another one. It was kind of fun. I mean, it's as I jokingly say, pool wine. You sit down. It's not offensive. But,
Well, pool wine could mean something else.
Well, but it's not. It's no Jacker family winery. One of my
While you're
favorites.
pouring that, I'm going to talk about pool beer. We had when the stepkids I was mentioning were little, they had a friend, and apparently the friend was taking, as kids do in high school, was skimming a little of the beer. And so they didn't want their parents to know that the beer was missing. So what they were doing is they had gotten themselves like one of those canning whatever. It was the bottled beers, and they were filling it up with pool water and then resealing it and then putting it back. So of course the parents had people over and the dad's handing out the beer and somebody goes, "This tastes like pool water." And they're like, "Wow, did the beer go, because sometimes beer, I guess, I'm not a beer drinker, but the beer will turn or whatever. So I did not drink the pool water, but I guess sometimes it'll turn or go flat. I don't know what happened." And so they're like, "That's weird." So they go in and they get them another one and then open it, and they're like, "This tastes like pool water." And then they're like, "It's 100% pool." So how is this? What does this taste like? Do you like it? On a scale of 1 to 10, what do we got going on?
It's exactly what I expected. As far as it's kind of a.
Does it go with pork sandwiches or what?
Yeah,
Isn't
it
that what
definitely does.
how about peaches?
It would definitely go with potato salad.
Listen, my favorite barbecue is actually I don't like the pork, but I eat the pulled chicken, and because I love North Carolina's mustardy barbecue
Yep,
sauce.
I do.
So would that go with it?
I think it would because it's definitely on the sweet side. So it's got that tinge that you'd want with the mustard that kind of balanced it that bit because some of the mustard I've loved and I agree I like the mustard sauce a lot. Some of it can be a little bit more sweet, some a little bit more tangy, some spicy, and this isn't going to compete with any of it. I mean, this is it's your typical.
Okay, what number? Throw out a number.
I'm going to give it like a 4. So. Yeah, this is it's
all right. So
drinkable.
Unfortunately, Chris's husband Jeremy will be drinking this over the weekend.
Yes, I'll be drinking the Jacker.
And poor Jeremy. Let's all feel bad for Jeremy. All right. So I just want to sum up one thing. If you are thinking about doing the do-it-yourself, I'm still astounded I can get whale sperm and all this stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
I just wanted you to know for $49.95, this is your kit at CVS. You can have it delivered in 2 hours.
Considering with my stepkids, I have 5 kids. I don't think I can convince my husband that he wants it. That he wants the 6th child. Oh yeah. So I don't need that kid. But thank you so much. I will only be using my turkey baster for basting my turkey.
But again, there's a whole world out there that
there is a whole world that I don't know about. I kind of want to know about it. I mean, let's see. We're learning about bondage. We're learning about turkey basters. I'm learning about Facebook Marketplace. I thought I could only buy a used couch that has, those little bugs in it, bed bugs in it.
Yes.
I didn't know I could buy all this other stuff. But anyways, thank you for educating me, Chris. I appreciate it. You are just a plethora of information. I appreciate it.
I love my beauty business, and I do know that whale sperm and salmon sperm are the thing that people are doing, and people are flying to South Korea to have it injected under their skin in addition to slathered on. You
probably could go to Mexico because they do all that stem cell stuff.
Yeah, but that's different. They don't really have access to the cold water.
So listen, we got to check with that. You know who I'm talking about. See if she'll come on the podcast and do the whale or salmon sperm while we're talking. All right. So everybody, please follow us. Comment below. Tell us if you have a wine you want to suggest or you tasted the wine that we're talking about, what you think.
Thomasville,
you
Georgia?
agree?
If
you agree with us.
They do have a fun little tasting room that was filled with women having a good time.
That's all that matters.
That's what mattered.
So Do you want to
So
say cheer? I have nothing to
I do.
cheers with.
You have nothing to cheers with, but cheers, and let's hope for a little less heartbreak.
Yeah.